Hey, what's going on? Yep. It's hot out here today. Sweltering today. So I'm out here. Just want to show you a couple of things. Of course, I have the regular MLA-30 Plus right here. Close, there you go. That is the MLA-30 Plus. I just recently mounted up there. This is the stock version. This is the one I took to Florida, and I'm gonna keep it stock. This is the one I take with me when I travel. All right. I put a new mount over here, so now I have that one, and I have the MFJ there. And those are going to my basement shack in the room, not the boiler room, but the other room. I usually do most of my listening. Sometimes I go there. So, and that works well. But the one I want to show you today is the one that really impressed me. So let's walk over here and let me show you. It's this guy, the copper modified MLA-30, the original MLA-30. Let me zoom in there. See? It's hard to focus. Okay. Copper tube. Okay. It's on a PVC pipe, of course. It has the umbrella stand that I had on the roof. You remember? I first built this antenna. I made a video on it when it was up on the roof on March 2020. It was located right there. I had it right there. And I did a comparison with that antenna, modified, with the MFJ that's up there at the time. And I learned a lot since then. Because here's the deal. A few days ago, I put this antenna over here. I mounted it right here. And right away, it was not doing well. Because either it was too close to this metal pole right here, or close to the antenna. I don't know what it was. It was just not. It was a lot more. It was noisier. I don't know. It could be because of the metal flashing on this rooftop. This paint also is aluminum. Has aluminum flakes in it. Could have been that. I have no idea. It's not. This is not proof. But all I know is when I moved it from there to here, it was a dramatic change in this antenna. You know, as you remember, I told you that I had trouble with this antenna going down to the longwave band. You know, it going down to below 500 kilohertz. I was lucky if I got a beacon around 300 and something, but it didn't. It was barely. Okay. And of course, I have 75 feet. Is the I also remember the BNC mod is right there. This is 75 feet of RG8X. Okay, I keep it on the ground. That's going down to the basement. Into my room, to the basement room. But look how high the loop goes off the ground. It's just about maybe a foot and a half from the ground, foot and a half. There's nothing near it. The only thing that's near it that could affect it is maybe that chain link fence right there, which is covered by a cloth. So So I think a couple of findings I found here. Let me start with one thing. I got people ask me, you know, why I don't put a rotor on there. Well, here's the other thing. This location is the only way I can listen to this without very little noise. If I try to rotate this antenna 90 degrees, it's unlistenable. Because either one, all of this, you know, the appliances, over there's a welding shop over there now. For the past few years, a welding shop over there. So even on a Sunday, they're working. They work 7 days a week, these people. Right over there, where the music is coming from. There's a welding shop right there, and they work all day, every day, except holidays. And so during the day, I get a lot of noise. If I aim it this way, which is north to south, I null out the noise. So now you got to consider about, you may not be able to use a rotor anyway, because unfortunately, in my case, I mean, at least thank God it's one direction that I can null out. And this, facing that way, I can listen to anything with no problem. Okay, I also have a transformer. Let me rotate. See, you can see up there, there's a power line. The transformer is right around this house. The front of this house is a pole with a transformer. Okay, so that's the other reason why maybe I was getting all this noise. So my finding is about this antenna, it works with the copper tube, but it works if you place it away from the house. That is the key. I can't stress it enough. You have to face it away from the house, and also around any other antennas, any other metal, and also you may have to null out local noise. So you're not going to be able to point it, you know, for example, you can't just point it any way you want. It's not going to work that way. In my situation, it's not going to work that way. This is the only direction it works well. Okay? So you have to compromise. Remember, I'm going north to south. WWVB is west of me. I live in Yonkers, New York. WWVB, 60 kilohertz, that's in Fort Collins, Colorado. That is on the west coast, the west side, almost, well, west of the United States. So I went coast to coast on that. But notice that my antenna is pointing north to south. I still was able to pick up that signal because I had to null out the noise, and the signal was strong enough that it still came in. So that's my point. You got to think about it like that. You can't think that, oh, if I just got to point in this direction and that's it. No. You have to null out the noise first. You got to think about it like that. Null out the noise first and let the signals come in. You understand? That's what you have to do. You have to think that way. You have to that mindset about pointing where you want the signal. No. Null out the noise first. The signals will find their way. Now, am I going to get WWVB every night? Probably not. But I'm getting it most nights now because I null out the noise. And that's what you have to do. You have to null out any noise first. You're going to have to get this antenna. I have to put it in the middle of the yard, away from any metal, and it works for me. That's where it's going to have to stay. You understand? So you have to you have to get that mindset out of don't and just point in the direction. No, you have to null out the noise first. The copper, the antenna will pick up the signal anyway. It'll signal strong enough that it'll come in anyway. Okay. So I'm gonna put the links to the video up here on what it took to build this antenna. Of course, you already saw I got a video on the BNC with a ferrite bead inside. This again is copper refrigerated tubing There's a video on that. I'm going to show you the actual brand. It was a video that I made a while back before I bought the MLA-30. It was a video that I was going to, right when I first used this copper, it was for a homemade active loop that I made. Okay? And that's the same copper I used for this one. I did not cut it or anything. It's the same one. The only thing I did to it was I sprayed polyurethane coating on it because I don't want this to oxidize too much and turn green. That's what I did to the spray, polyurethane coating. Okay, that is an umbrella stand. I had that for a long time. Of course, I could make a permanent mounting there. I could put sandbags on it so it won't tip over on a high wind, because that's what happened when I had it on the roof. I had it like this, and a high wind tipped it over and broke the BNC connector and also dented. I had to bend it back into shape. It bent the copper. Okay, so I'm going to run it down one more time, and then we're going to go inside, and I'm going to show you what to do on the other end. So again, I have a PVC tubing. It's not much off the ground. It's about a little over about a foot and a half off the ground. Okay, copper tube, simple. Of course, maybe because the bigger element, I was able to go down the lower bands. So that could also be it compared to this big element to the, let's go back over here. Compare that big element to even the skinny little wire here. Oh, I got the sun right here. The skinny little wire on the MLA-30 Plus, and even compared to the MFJ. It's a lot more, it's a little bigger area of the loop. So maybe that's also helping with lowering the, going down to the lower bands. And also, I'm going to make this note. And try to pause this video and listen to it over and over to get all these tips. Okay? These are all my findings. Do not mess with the potentiometer in there. I did not do any tweaking in it. I did not do any tweaking. Like I seen people posted on their forums. I did not do that. You leave it alone. You don't need to do anything on the potentiometer. Okay? I seen that happen. I cringe when I read these things. Okay? Unless you're gonna paint with a paint pen, you're gonna mark it like a torque marking and know what you're gonna before you start messing with it. Otherwise, you're gonna throw it out of whack. Okay, so I did not mess with any of my antennas on the potentiometer. I did not do that. Okay, of course, this is going to be tight. And make sure it's tight. And I just bend it right in there. Okay, let me show this side. I know I'm sorry moving the camera around, but it's hot out here. I'm sweating. It's hotter than hell out here and I'm sweating. But I want to show you this video because I want you to learn. I want you to learn what I did so you can achieve these results. Okay, so as you can see, there's nothing, just straight up. I flattened this with a hammer, bent it with a pair of pliers, and drilled a hole, and put that in there. Okay, nothing special there. Okay, and I just bend it. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. Let me back up. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle, but I got as close as I can. Because, my OCD, and it's still not a perfect circle. It's just, I think it's a little wider this side and this side. That's my OCD kicking in. But I got as close as I can as a circle. Because when you buy this copper refrigerated tubing, it's going to come in a box. And as I took it out the box, I rolled it out. Because it's going to be coiled. Because this copper is very soft. Let's say malleable. It's very soft. You can bend by hand. You don't need no... It's thin enough that you can bend it by hand. And this is 3/8 of an inch inner diameter copper tubing. And it comes in a roll of 10 feet. 10 feet long. So as you open it up, it's gonna make this loop about 1 meter wide. Probably a little over 1 meter wide, okay? So just keep that in mind. The video, I'm going to put the video links for you. You're going to see when this was in the box. Okay? And I'll try to put the Amazon link to buy the exact tubing. Okay? So, let me show you one more time. This is not the plus. This is the original. Okay? And also one other thing I want to show you before we go inside. When I first did the comparison, I did not use this. Excuse me, sir. Oh, hold up. Okay, let me focus in here. It's hard to focus, and I'm gonna move over here for a second. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do this with one hand, and okay, I'm gonna show you. When I first did the comparison, I used the bias T from the SDR. Now I realize it was a mistake, because this provided the exact voltage needed for that to work. When I did it with the SDR, it was underperforming actually, because it wasn't getting enough voltage, or it was bringing in more noise. So I use this. So you're gonna have to use your that's how I got it working. Use this. Don't substitute this for another type, because again, you're gonna throw it out of whack. I'm telling you what works for me, and that's what works for me. If you want to get the what I got down to, because remember, this antenna was designed for 100 kilohertz up to 30 megahertz. It was not designed to go down to VLF. Okay, and I did that. And I'm telling you what to do, how you should do it. And you have to use the included amplifier, because that's the one that's going to work the best. You're going to get the best results when you do it that way. Okay? Because that was another mistake I made. So my findings are: use the included amplifier. Use this. Of course, I plug it in to a wall wart. And you're gonna have to vary that, depending on what type of USB plug. That's the one I use. I use one from an old Samsung phone. That one doesn't make noise, works well. Okay, the one from the SDR by ST, I wouldn't recommend that anymore, because this worked. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm doing this. This worked. Okay, so there was no need for that. That might work on shortwave. That's gonna work on even some medium wave. It's not going to work on long wave, because you're going to need that 1S meter to bring you over the hump to get that signal. Otherwise, it's going to be buried. You're not going to be able to get that signal, because you got to see the carrier, and then you got to zoom in, and then you got to put it on a CW. I'm going to show you that on the computer when we go downstairs. So let's go down to the shack. Okay, let's check out the connection on this end. So again, I'm no longer using the bias T. I'm no longer using that. That failed for me. If you want to go down to the long wave band, don't use the bias T. Don't connect it there, because first of all, you're missing out on two things. This is the what you want to connect it to. In Tennessee, this is the one that's HDR. This is the one that also, again, HDR, that means it's very sensitive to 3 megahertz. So when you want to do any medium wave DXing, 160 meter band, and long wave, you have to use this port. It's not going to work on these two. I tried it. You will get some, but you will not get WWVB. Unless you're lucky. I don't know. It never happened for me. This one worked for me. Another SD I could recommend if you don't have this one is this one. The AirSpy HF Discovery. That's the one I'm going to try next in another video. I'm going to try this one next. I know it's going to work here because it worked here. These two are the only SDRs that I know of that are going to work. So here, of course, this one says plus, but it doesn't matter. Plus or the regular MLA-30 power insert. Let me turn off this flash. Okay, I can't turn this thing off right now. Okay, there you go, because right now it's really shining too much. Okay, MLA-30 amp is working. You can use either one. You can use the plus or the original one. Doesn't matter. The original one has the white light. This one has the green light. Okay? As you can see, this one is labeled copper. This is the BNC that's coming from the antenna. I have an adapter, BNC to SMA. This one is going to the SDR, to antenna C. I put ferrites on them. I do that to minimize. This power, I don't have it. I have it hooked up to a wall wart. Nothing special here. But that one, that's the one I had. That's from a Samsung phone. That one seems to work the best. I have different ones, but some of them are a little more noisy than others. That's the best one that I have. That's not noisy. So that's the one I use. I do not have it hooked up. I don't hook it back to the computer. I don't do any of that. So I'm showing you what I did. Don't use the bias T from the SDR. It's not going to work. I tried it over and over. It's not going to work well compared to this. Okay? So that's how I set up my copper modified MLA-30 to get VLF. The lowest signal I got on that was 24 kilohertz. That was a Cutler main. That's a submarine transmission. Okay. Right now it is, let me check the time right now. It is 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Let's go to the computer. And I'm just going to show you real quick what you need to do on the SDR side to get the same results. So you saw the outside antenna. You saw the setup that I have here. Now let's go to the computer. All right. We are back on the computer. And I just want to show you how to set it up on the software end. This is SDR Uno. This is not the latest update. I'm going to wait a while for that update because I just updated to this one and they just came with another update. So, you know, I'm just showing you that. Excuse me. Remember, the first thing you have to do is you have to put it on antenna C. It's not going to work with antenna A. It's not going to work with antenna B. That's fine for shortwave. That's fine. But for long wave, you're going to have to put it on antenna C. If you want the best results, you're going to have to put on antenna C. Because that works with the other thing I'm going to show you. Okay? And that is this. When you go to the band select here, the group, you're going to select HDR. Okay? So you need antenna C, and you need to select HDR. Now, what that's going to show you is these HDR bands. You have medium wave, you have long wave, you have non-directional beacon high, non-directional beacon low, then you have low fur. This has the full spectrum from all the way down the long wave to the medium wave. This is just showing you the full spectrum. And this is the one that you're going to pick for WWVB. This is the VLF, low setting. Okay, you have to pick that. And then, of course, you got the 160 meter band. You have the 630 meter band. And you have the 2200 meter band. So if you want to get WWVB, you're going to have to pick this one. So let me show you medium wave first. Let's just go down the bands. So let's start with medium wave. I'm going to put it on 1130 Bloomberg. it's going to be a little noise right now because unfortunately they're working right outside right now. Even if I tilt it, I can null out, but it's right now it's kind of noisy.
I hear directly his words about his assessment of the president. And you just...
Back taxes, fines, and penalties to the IRS. The IRS now offers new relief options for taxpayers affected by...
Okay, so this is medium wave. We already know that. Now the next one is long wave. So this one, of course, is going to be nothing going on there. Okay. And this is non-directional beacon high. So that's usually starts from the bottom of the medium wave up to 400 something. So there's nothing much going to be going on there. And you can see there, that's 5:40 a.m. That's the bottom. This is the bottom of the medium wave broadcast. So, okay, and here this is where you normally will get NavTech about 517 or 58, whatever, 518. So this is non-directional beacon high. Okay, let me unmute that. This is non-directional beacon low, which is a 4 to 200 range. Let's play that. Now, of course, it's 5:10 in the afternoon. We're not going to get anything right now. Now, of course, in the evening, later on, you know, the sun comes down and it gets dark. For me, sometimes it's 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, midnight. I'll get a couple of signals here. Those are the ones I usually get. Okay. Now this is the part that's interesting. Is this one loafer? That is this range. Of course, I also put the it automatically puts the filter for that, so you don't get medium wave breakthrough here. You have to put that on too. If it's not on, you have to put it on. That's going to help with that too. You're not going to get the bleed through or the breakthrough of those signals. It's going to block that. Notice, look at the noise flow. Slow. When I had the MLA-30 on the roof, it wasn't this low. It was all the way up here. It was about up here. Sorry. Yeah, about up there. Okay, it was up here. So, watch this. Just pay attention. Look at the noise flow. It's under 1. And it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. In the evening, this is going to be a little better. And you're going to be able to dig out signals. Remember what I told you outside. Null out the noise first. The signals will come in. You have to get rid of the noise. Okay? So let's do now let's just show the full.
Civic infrastructure, green space, recreational is all within.
As you can see, the full one, you know, it's just for, I think the full one is just for visual, to use visual reference. That's it. You're not going to be able to tune. For example, if I wanted to tune over here, you're not going to be able to. You might, but when you want to do WWVB, you're going to have to do this one. Low. Make sure you have this on. And you're going to have to put CW. Okay? Make sure you have it on CW. Make sure you have this on. Make sure it's on antenna C. Then play. Okay? Let me lower the volume. Let me lower the volume a little bit. Okay? Again, there's no carrier right now because it's still... It's above the threshold of. But watch what happens when you zoom in. You see, there's a small carrier on. Actually, let's zoom in. Let me put it around here, around 60. Let me get it to 60. Now, I want you to see this. And let's zoom in. Notice what's happening to the wavelength, the signal. It's getting lower. You have to zoom in. You have to use the zoom tool. Zoom in a little bit more. Okay. Lower the volume a little bit. Now what you see already, 514, 515, you can see 24 kilohertz right here. Okay? That is Cutler main. Okay? Let me put it up. So look at that. We got Cutler main, S1.5, S2 at 5:15 in the afternoon already. That's Cutler main. WWVB, you're not going to see a carrier yet. It's still too early. I'll give it a few hours, then you'll start seeing a carrier. You have to zoom in. That's the key. If you don't zoom in, you're not going to see the carrier. You understand what I'm saying? Very, very important. Of course, that's DC right there. That's the bottom of the... So right now, already I got 24 kilohertz. There was another one around 40 kilohertz. I got it last night too. And that little crackling, sometimes that's lightning somewhere, maybe a few hundred miles away. Sometimes this thing will jump up and down. And you crack it. But look at the noise floor. Look how low it is. This is the MLA-30. This is not the plus. This is not a well broke. This is MLA-30 with a copper tube, folks. Okay? Nothing special. But the two things are going on here. Location. You have to get it away from everything. And also, you have to use the right port. You have to have it on this antenna C. You have to pick HDR. You have to pick that. Let me click it away. And you have to do the low. And then you have to put on CW. And then you're going to have to zoom in to see the carrier. And you can see it right here. Let me unmute it. You put it on AM or you're going to get a static. You got to use the right mode. CW. Okay? I hope you're learning this. Okay? CW. You can't use any other mode. You want to get WWVB, you want to get the submarine, CW. I'm going to repeat it. CW. Okay? Let's play. Okay? So I'm going to wrap it up right there. I hope you learn from this video and share it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share the video. And also, subscribe to my channel. I have over 400 plus videos you can watch. Okay? And thank you for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.